So what's going on, everybody? So we're about to do a request video, question asked by @Chad's Pro. What's going on, Chad? Chad asks, "Yo Ben, can you do a vid specifically about a young Pisces versus an evolved ascended Pisces and how they can go through that transition? I see esoteric astrologists talk about being evolved, but no one really goes into depth about it. I want to see a breakdown. Thanks." And Chad, I agree. It's a good question. It is true. A lot of esoteric teachers and astrologers do mention that. I've even been mentioned that a few times myself, an evolved Pisces, an evolved Scorpio, an evolved Cancer, an evolved Virgo. But we know dealing with astrology, we're dealing with measurements of all types and kinds, right? So why haven't we unpacked that to the point where we can measure it? Because one is probably just guessing or assuming that means the level of maturity of that sign, right? But what's the measurement of that? How do we track that? So for one, I say that that's a good question just based upon that, right? And the first thing I would say to look at, which is probably should be the last, but I'm going to say it first. This could be a little disheartening, but bear with me, is the orbit. I would think that the orbit of a planet is going to describe or confirm what the evolution and the ascendant of the evolution of a sun sign is going to be, of a sign is going to be. So whatever that ruling planet is, however long it takes to orbit, is going to be the completion or the fulfillment, at least of the cycle, because we're dealing with cycles here with life. It's going to be the cycle of evolving. So for Pisces, that means we got to wait 165 years, bro. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, that could be disheartening or it could be something to look forward to because, the average person is not living that long. However, we may be on the brink of that. And once upon a time, we were on that level and we surpassed it many times. So let's break that down a little bit. Because we famously know of what? Saturn returns, right? Famous. Saturn gets all the props when it comes to returns. Solar returns too, but Saturn really is the one that's magnified, and we can all guess why, I'm pretty sure. Saturn is the ruler of this planet Earth, right? The 666, the carbons, the electrons, the neutrons, the protons, right? Our carbon makeup. So that would be 28 to 29 years. We'll just say 29 years rounded off. Saturn return. Makes you an authoritative figure on planet Earth. Okay, we got that, right? But there are those of us like Pisces which have longer orbital cycles pertaining to our ruling planet. Ours being Neptune, which takes 165 years to orbit. So this clarifies even more why Pisces are looked at as, not grounded, head in the clouds, yada, 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 etc., because while everybody is being ruled under the Saturn guise, under Chronos, we go beyond that. We're not alone. You know what I'm saying? Aquarius does the same. If we're looking at modern times, now Scorpio does the same, right? Because of Uranus and because of Pluto. So these are ideal things to look at when it comes to knowing an evolved Pisces. So then one may say, well, then we're not ever going to meet an evolved Pisces, right? Because who's going to live to 165 years old to tell us what that looks like and what that entails? Which I said could be disheartening. I understand that. But don't fret, because I've looked into a more even detailed way to try to track that. But just to clarify and elaborate more, like that's why Pisces head is in the clouds. That's why we're very interchangeable. That's why we change our mind a lot, which is okay, by the way, if you change your mind. It is okay. Geminis and Virgos do it often as well. The mutable signs, Sagittarius, They're bound to change their mind about things. That is okay. But this is why. This is even more of a reason why, because we're still evolving. And when it comes to Pisces, we rule over discovery, right? So how can you, and you know, I think a video I did not too long ago, I said, the last video I did, I said, we better know everything, because that's what a Pisces is supposed to do. We're the last, we're the end. We're supposed to know everything. That was maybe a little bit arrogant of me to say. But what I mean to say is, we better be on the verge of knowing everything life has to offer because of our position in the zodiac. And we rule over discovery. So really, we know we're not always going to know everything, because there's always going to be something else to learn. And when we think we've known everything, change is the only constant thing. So things change. It's like you can go to sleep, have a dream, wake up, and the world changed in some type of way. You know, astral projection, dimension jumping, all of that has a part to play in what I just said. So it's important for Pisces people to continue to evolving and evolving and evolving. So it's kind of like saying there's an end, but there really is no end, because there's always going to be discovery. And this is interesting too, because Aquarius age is kind of like trying to take discovery out of the equation, out of the zodiac. How? I'll tell you. With the removal of privacy, also ruled by Pisces. So if you remove the privacy from people, right, what happens is there's nothing left to discover, because everything is known now. And it's the Aquarius age, right? Revealing the truth, knowledge being the prominent asset on the earth, which, you know, largely agreed with. But there's still going to be something to discover, or at least I hope that it is. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this Aquarius age is going to say, no, there is nothing else to discover. It's all on Google. But I doubt it. I think there's always going to be something to discover, because we're all playing our lives out here on planet Earth. Even those of us who can astral project, remote view, time travel, dimension jump, and get glimpses and even experiences of things that are to happen. And once we experience it, it's like they did happen, you know. As long as we got it in our memory logs, it happened. So, you know, our strong belief system as Pisces, the Pisces energy is strongly belief. I think a woman commented on my last video as well when I was talking about Pisces, man, how it's easy for us to jump from woman to woman. She said something along the lines of, you know, their belief system is so strong, you know, they believe so strong that they're not necessarily lying. They just believe what they believe, and then until they change their mind, and then now they believe something else, right? That was good. But it just lets you know that the only thing constant is change. So a Pisces is going to be ever evolving. So I would say let's get to a more micromanaged point of view now. So if we look at like Mars, for example, traditionally, I guess we could say an evolved Scorpio is going to be an individual who has clocked how many days it took for Mars to orbit, right? So you would say, okay, that counts for a Mars return. You could look up your Mars return. You could do that on calculators. They got them online. You know what I'm saying? And not for nothing, you can see how powerful that sign is based upon how much action that they take. And this is any individual, wherever your Scorpio is, you might have taken a lot of action regarding that area. Definitely Aries, right? So this helps you evolve as an individual. It's like an infant learning how to crawl and beginning to crawl and then beginning to walk and then so on and so forth. These things happen more rapid than it would be someone who daydreams and tries to manifest by pulling from the ether and manifesting something on Earth. It's going to take less of a time for a Mars construct to do it than a Neptune construct to do it, because of the orbital cycle of those planets. So we could look at Mercury doing the same thing for Gemini and Virgos, right? And you will notice, I've noticed that Geminis more than Virgos, but Geminis and Virgos also change their minds a lot as well. Can also be very contradictory in the things that they say. Like you can watch their Twitter, they'll say one thing 5 years ago, they'll say the complete opposite 5 years later and be strong in their conviction when saying it. And you may say, well, you're a liar. And they may say, well, I changed my mind in defense, right? This is the cycles of life. This is the way everything's constant. Nothing is, the most constant thing is change. Again. And then you got your fixed signs, which I'm not going to talk about because I want to stay on topic about a Pisces evolving. So we could do even more micromanaging in this type of way. Let me put this down. I would say to look at a Pisces evolving as far as looking at counting by 12 years, each 12-year cycle that you have, because we rule the 12th house and our cycle is going to be based upon 12 years, despite the time that it takes Neptune to orbit fully. So this is the micromanaged way that we can actually look at and evolve Pisces. So you may ask, so that means we're supposed to look at a 12-year-old preteen as an evolved Pisces? And I would say yes. Now, bear with me, right? Because I want y'all to get involved with this as well. If you are willing to get in the comment section and talk about or comment on what you achieved or accomplished at the age 12, at the age 24, at the age 36, I'd be very intrigued by that. Because this is what I did before I decided to record this video. Because I said, let me start there, right? I think it's a real strong significance of the number 12 and being right before the number 13, right? So you're not described as a teenager until you reach the age 13. And it's just like, well, why is that? Why? And then before that, they call it preteens. And it's just like, well, why? Why couldn't teenager be as soon as you hit double digits, you know? And we know how strong the number 12 is if you study esoteric knowledge. We get it. It's part of the cycle, right? So I would definitely say to look at the first 12 years of your life. I'll give you an example of my 12, 24, 36 for the sake of this video. So when I turned 12 years old, I'm thinking, okay, well, what did I do that was special at the age of 12? And I realized I signed my first record deal when I was 12 years old in the music industry. I was in the music industry since when I was writing music since I was about 9. And then I got my first deal when I turned 12. This was a management deal, but it was still in the music industry, right? So we got a management deal to produce one album, yada, yada, yada. I forget all of the details, but it was on. It was lit. You know what I'm saying? Now, I think it's more importance around that because I'm a Pisces. So it rules over the arts, the glamour world. You know what I'm saying? So it makes sense that I would evolve into that at that age. You know? So yes, you're not too young to be looked at as an evolved individual. And not for nothing, you know, I guess I could not blame it, but chalk that up to the type of childhood that I had. I was kind of like in a position where I had to learn how to grow up very quickly. And that enabled me to be in a position like that to actually get the deal. You know what I'm saying? Like I got the deal by going to a nightclub. Like I was in the nightclubs as soon as I started going to junior high. Real talk, like first day of junior high school, I met this girl named Vanessa. Vanessa, shout out to you wherever you are. I met this girl named Vanessa, and she just looked at me and knew that she was the person to talk, that I was the person that she should talk to. So she came up to me. Her father owned the club in our neighborhood, the biggest club in our neighborhood, right? So she came up to me. She was sitting 2 rows in front of me. She came up to me after the homeroom class, and she was like, "Here." I was like, "What are these?" She handed me 2 passes. She said, "These are passes to my father's club. He owns a club on Bay Street. Shout out to Staten Island. If you live on Staten Island, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The Wave. I think it was DV8 at this time. I think it was the name just changed to DV8 when her father got it. Don't quote me on that, but I think so. Or it was right before the name changed to DV8. So she gave me these passes, and I'm like, "You serious?" She like, "Yeah, I'm serious." So I was just like, I don't know how the fuck she knew to come to me. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I was already writing. I was already doing music. But I'm like, okay, I'm taking advantage of this. You know what I'm saying? You know how old you got to be to club. But nonetheless, me and my god brother, we went down there. Boom, we went down there. First concert was to go to see Black Sheep. And how ironic, I'm the black sheep of the family. So this is very meaningful to me, right? But I say that to say this again. Entertainment industry, that was, so after that, or whatever the case may be, we kept going to the club because she just kept giving me passes, free at that. Like, so I'm in the clubs, 12 years old. I hopped off the porch very early. So I'm clubbing hard and pause, but I'm clubbing hard and we going to all of the concerts, all the events, you know what I mean? I'm lit. My whole squad, we super lit. So one night, we actually meet the Fushnikins. Shout out to the Fushnikins, wherever y'all are. They from Flatbush, Brooklyn. Fushnikins put us on. They the ones who plugged us in to get the deal. We met Fushnikins one night, hit it off. We rhymed for them. They loved us. Next thing you know, I say that following week, we was in the offices down there rapping in the studios for them, this, that, and the third, and we got signed, right? Me and my partners. So boom, that happened at 12 years old. Now, the age 24 came around, and well, first of all, the age 25, just like I said, there's a significance about the 12-year cycles and the year that is after them, like 13 and 25. So the CIA has this, I don't know if you want to call it a rule, but they have this finding, let's say it like that. They have this statistic that states once an individual reaches the age of 25, that's where their brain is formed to where all of the things that they know, from that point on, if they don't change their mindset to say, like, to know the difference between right and wrong and stuff like that by the age of 25, then they're going to be stuck. Like, they're pretty much deemed and fated to believe the things that they believe at that age. And it's going to be near impossible to change their mind about things. This is very meaningful to me, too, in my life because I had, let's say, and I'm not saying this is something bad that happened in my life. I think it's part of the evolution because I was heavy in drugs, the drug game, and going back and forth to prison around this time. And at the age of 24, I was really on my way to prison. I just didn't know it yet. You know, I kind of felt it. Intuition told me I know I'm going back to prison. But this time I almost did a whole lot of time. So I got locked up by 25 with these charges, and I'm not going to drag this out. I ended up winning trial. Thank God. Thank the universe. Thank the angels. Thank everything and everybody involved. Right? Got out of that. So at the age of 25, my mindset completely shifted to like, yo, I got to do something different because I don't like how this shit feels no more. You know what I'm saying? And not for nothing, Pisces rules over drugs and prisons. Get where I'm going? I'm hoping this really helps because this really helped me. The question, researching it, reflecting on my life and shit like that, sharing this with y'all. I'm hoping y'all can look at your 12, 24s, and 36s as well. And beyond that, but you know, I ain't kind of telling my age, but not telling my age. So that's what happened with me at the age of 24. Now, at the age of 36, I definitely evolved a lot more, I would say, as far as stoicism, as far as being responsible. And a lot of that is chalked up to the Saturn return that occurs at 29 years old. Like, I was really feeling the heaviness and the weight of becoming a young adult. So by the time I reached 36 years old, I moved into a new place. I moved into this place, as a matter of fact. And a lot of things shifted for me at that time because I was definitely more in a spiritual vibe. I had evolved to a point of spirituality that was to where I had never been before. And don't get me wrong, I've always been spiritual. I used to even like read books like Pale White Horse, Behold the Pale White Horse, Illuminati, all these types of books as a teenager. I used to be on the buses on my way to school, in school, but I would like cover the back of the book with a different book so nobody know what I was reading and shit like that. I was kind of paranoid too, you know what I'm saying? Like shit, like, because it was real like that back in the days. Those books were like really, they were hidden. Like you had to be in the know to even get these books, you know what I'm saying? Or even know about these books. I had them all. Art of War, Sons, all of them, you know what I mean? So, but by the time I reached 36, I was like that shit was just hovering over me. Like it just grabbed me. All of the dreams started journaling a little bit before 36, and then when I reached 36, I moved in here. I started the YouTube channel. I started doing the astrology thing at the age of 36. So that's 12, 24, and 36. So I would definitely say to look at the cycles of 12 in your life as a Pisces to track the evolving of you. All right? And don't discount or negate the age 12 because you're just a preteen. Let's remove the word just. It's like somebody saying you're little business. No. Because you're a preteen, that you can't be looked at as intelligent, successful, prominent. No. You have reached a age or a stage, both. They probably rhyme for a reason, bars. You've reached that for a reason, you know? And it's like also, I would suggest this too. Look for your annual perfection chart. I stress that more often now. Look for your annual perfection chart because that also is calculated in a 12-year cycle. You know, it's counted as a evolutionary cycle every 12 years. So look at that for more details into how you can check the evolving of oneself. And I think all signs can actually assess this, but I'm keeping it Pisces right now because it was a Pisces-driven question. And not for nothing, a 12-year cycle, we rule the 12th house. So it is attributed to us. So I feel like we've earned the right to at least begin a discussion regarding this. All right, so again, I hope this helps the watchers. And until next time, I'll see y'all.